gestes font peur, un mot de trop.
Bonjour les amis et ennemis, ça va? Oui, je parle un peu français. Alright, enough of that. On this channel, we have been proudly trilingual for some time. We have talked about artists who sing in English and Spanish, and even a few of the artists on compilation albums we've talked about have sung in Portuguese. Yes, I know, none of the Brazilian bands whose albums I've covered in full thus far have sung in Portuguese, but it's coming, I promise, literally in 2 episodes. Today, we will be talking about a band that sings in a language you probably don't associate with Latin America, even though it is a Latin-based language, and that is French. Today, we are talking about the 2022 album Spleen by Halo Negro. They previously released an EP in 2021 and various singles, but this appears to be their first full album. Halo Negro is a darkwave duo based out of Guadalajara, Mexico. We have Didier Machilot on vocals, lyrics, and guitars, and Cesar Escalante, aka Cesar Tirado, writing the music and providing the rest of the instrumentation. They describe themselves as Franco-Mexicana, you know, French-Mexican, or as I like to say, Frexican. Even with the Latin American emphasis, I am so glad to be doing a French language album because the French language and culture actually has a very specific history in relation to me as a young goth. Back when I was a baby bat of about 9 to 10 years old, I was really into France and thought it was just the most goth. Why, you might ask? I'm not totally sure, but I suspect the fact that the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland was in the French Quarter and the whole French-coded goth spider in the film adaptation of James and the Giant Peach had something to do with it. For real, French programs in high schools need to personally find Henry Selick or whoever's idea it was to make Miss Spider a French goth because it wasn't in the book, and thank him for reeling in all the alt kids who they didn't lose to Japanese or German. So grab yourself some French tacos and a dizzy mezcal cocktail. If you're old enough to drink, that is, please drink responsibly. So we can dive right into this Frexican creation. Before we get any further, please remember to like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you want more content related to goth music from Latin America. To start off, I think I should explain the title. I think a lot of English speakers will see that word spleen and think it refers to the part of your anatomy. However, en français, spleen means boredom, melancholy, and dissatisfaction, described on this one French language blog, which I will link below for any aspiring francophones who follow me, as a synonym with ennui, another French word, one that is used in English. I hope understanding that helps you have a better understanding of this album and the feelings it is trying to invoke and discuss. The line contre le spleen, meaning against the spleen, ennui in this case, for my non-francophone followers, is used in the song L'Invitation on this album. According to my research, this may be a reference to some of the works of Charles Baudelaire. I cannot confirm or deny that for sure because I am not familiar with the works of Baudelaire, but there are many references to literature and songs on this album, such as Ulysses and Lolita, so it wouldn't surprise me if there were more. The references to fiction are interesting because in the song De l'Ulysse, it is specifically referencing the desire that one's issues were purely fictional, so I think maybe there's a message about escape into fiction there, but it also comes back around and uses that fiction to describe one's feelings. In true gothic form, the lyrics, whether they are all literary references or not, I don't know about all of them, focus on mystical and introspective emotions. Got discussion of temptation, lost love, a lot of looking back in general. Genre-wise, they do literally describe themselves as going from darkwave to alternative rock. Most songs are more on the mellow side of darkwave, so not the dancey type most people think of when they hear the term darkwave. Sort of an atmospheric, rainy evening soundtrack quality to the sound with its light guitars and bass and mellow ambient synths. I've taken to calling this sort of music evening darkwave, not because that's an actual official term, but that's how it sounds to me, like a calm evening rather than a late night dance party. The instrumentation is predominantly electronic driven, yes, but there isn't much of that sound so much as moody atmospheres. One possible exception is that song L'Invitation, which does have sort of an upbeat dancey synth sound. Even that, if only for the vocals, does not sound totally techno. Didier Machilot's voice is one that we do not hear a lot of in goth. Usually, male goth singers are thought of as having either that grumbly, deep voice guy sound of voice, or the sort of high-pitched early Bowie sound, but Machilot's is neither of those. His voice is definitely more tenor, I'd say, but it is more calm and smooth than screechy. He definitely sings in some of the songs, probably to emphasize the storytelling element, going into a whisper sing in the ending piece, Dark Lullaby Melancholie. If the album starts in the evening, it ends at bedtime, though given the nature of lyrics, I think this person is so depressed that they're not going to bed at a normal bedtime. It may not sound like party music in the typical sense, but there's definitely some debauchery in the middle there, but debauchery in like the 1700 sense, not a modern day sense, so more likely at an opium den than a rave. Overall, if you're one of those moody, classic literature, old-timey media and fashion romantic goths, I think this will definitely appeal to you. Surprisingly, that actually is part of who I am. I know, I usually describe myself as a death rocker, which is thought of as the polar opposite of the romantic goth, but I'm both. I have layers, okay? So that was my review. If you've made it this far, please comment with the bread emoji, because what is more French than bread? If you want to listen to Halo Negro or follow them elsewhere on social media, I have all their links listed in the description down below. If you want to follow me elsewhere on social media, my link tree is in the description as well. À la prochaine. Au revoir.
La vie pourtant, même si la mort parfois me tente, la vie toujours.